Fresh Squeeze Noise Eurorack patch 8. So the usual setup, I have my two ABCs from Bastl going to my output mixer. I have Circadian Rhythms clocking the Tempi, and I have a couple samples set up in Grandpa. Just so you can see what I have in Grandpa, I'm going to take the output of this and go to the input of one of the mixers. And here's each of those samples. So I also set the Braids to be the noise preset. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the outputs of Tempi and go into the trigger in of Maths. I'm going to take the output of number 1 and go into the color of Braids. I'm going to take the output of Braids in general and go to my filter. Then I'm going to take the output of that and go into the reverb from Audio Damage. Then I'm going to take the output of that and go to the mixer. Next, I'm going to take one of the outputs of Circadian Rhythm and go into the snare input, or the snare trigger input of the Mutant snare. Then I'm going to take the output of that and go into the mixer. Now I'm going to set the preset loop on, and then I'm going to switch to 64 mode, and I'm going to add some steps. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 8 output and take it to trigger B of Grandpa, and then I'm going to take the 7 output of Circadian Rhythms and go into the trigger A of Grandpa. Then I'm going to take the output of that and go straight into the mixer. Now I'm going to go all the way down to those channels, and I'm going to add some steps. Now I'm going to take another output from Circadian Rhythms and go into the trigger in of Peaks. I'm going to use this as a bass droppy kind of bass drum. I'm going to take the output of that and go into the mixer. And then I'm going to add some steps to that. Now I'm going to take one of the outputs of the Tempi and run it into the clock in of the sequence 8. And then I'm going to divide that down. I'm going to take one of the CV outputs of that and go into the 1 volt per octave of STO. Then I'm going to take the sub output of the STO and go into the dub junior. Then I'm going to take the output of that and go into the mixer. Actually, I'm going to take the output of that and then go into the other filter. And then I'm going to take the output of that filter and go into the mixer from there. I'm going to take one of the outputs of the Tempi and go into the input of the Wogglebug, and then I'm going to divide that down. Then I'm going to take the smooth output and send that into the CV of our filter. Then I'm going to take one more of the Circadian Rhythm outputs and go into the trigger in of the Mutant bass drum. Then I'm going to take the Mutant bass drum distorted out and go into our mixer. And then I'm going to switch to that channel. Then I'm going to add some steps. Next, I'm going to take one more of the Tempi outputs and go into the trigger in of the DSM. Then I'm going to take the output of that and go into the mixer. Then I'm going to divide that up a little. I'm actually going to take the output of the DSM and go out of that into the ErrorBox. And then out of the ErrorBox, I'm going to go into Clouds. And then out of Clouds, I'll go into the mixer. And now I'm going to play with Clouds a little bit. I'm actually going to take one more of the Tempi outputs and go into the trigger in of Maths. Then I'm going to take the output of 4, and I'm going to go into the CV input for the filter. Then I'll subdivide. kind of a dope, noisy patch. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you like what you see and want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, thanks.